So we're kicking again. We're kicking again. Today we are talking about, I think it's called Lies, the record that this was released on, and like it's a 1988 record. I want to welcome you to a guitar lesson called Patience by Guns N' Roses. So we are going to examine, one of rock and roll's most interesting bands in the late 80s and early 90s. Really kicking band. And so the first thing we have to discuss, though, is that we're tuned to E flat standard tuning, which means if you wanted to play this along with a record, which I'm sure you do, as would I, we need to sort of like retune the guitar so that we're at, everything is the same as standard tuning, but it has a flat attached to it. So for example, this would be E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat. Okay, so E flat standard tuning is a really important tuning to get into for this song. And today we have the benefit of talking about the C major scale as well. Probably in a couple of different positions. We'll talk about a couple of applications, and hopefully that will trigger a few questions for you, from you. So you could always, there is no download for this session unless you request. Catherine can have, she can forward your message to me immediately, okay? So I hope you enjoy this session. We'll start right away with E flat standard. So E flat. A flat, D flat, G flat. How's everything going over there? Okay. B flat. And E flat. Okay, so we should be in tune, and it's E flat standard, so it's the equivalent of like adding, taking a standard tuned guitar and adding one fret, this way. So we're really, the tension, you should notice the string tension, it's a little bit slack. It's not really slack, but you should notice the guitar feels a little bit more forgiving. Your guitar neck, if you're tuning it down for the first time, you tune all of the strings down, there's a little less tension on the guitar string set, on this whole string set. So the neck on the guitar decides like it might want to straighten out a little bit. And as it straightens out, it pulls some of the strings tighter. So that would make the guitar go out of tune. So just be prepared to continue checking the tuning throughout this session. Okay, and if you have to, we can stop and take a break, or if you're watching this in a delayed viewing setting, then you can go ahead and pause the video and do a quick tuning check. But this is my favorite thing. I like to do this. Yep. Okay, we're in tune. It's a fun thing to do. It gets a couple of laughs. So GNR Lives was a great record. It's sort of a compilation of a couple of different records, albums. And when the Guns N' Roses played live or acoustic, or sort of like in a bare bones structure, they still retain that intensity that they had as an electric band. And so we just wanted to, if you were playing guitar in the 80s, late 80s, and you had an acoustic guitar kicking around your house and you were just starting out, this was a really fun song to learn because you have the C chord here, right? And then, you know, the C chord is on fret 3 on the A, open D, goes up to fret 2. So we have fingers 3, 2, open G, finger 1 on the B, and open high E. And then we choke off the low E string for this one. And this was a fun song because you could change the sound of that C chord by just simply adding that 4th finger down on fret number 3 on the B. Right, so that gives you that C sus2 or C add 9 sound. And then we remove that. It's sort of like the Dust in the Wind C chord, where you use that C sus2 or C add 9 and then kind of go back to the C and then back to the C major 7. Alright, so it's a very similar application of that C chord. So the next chord is G. So we're moving those same 2 fingers, fingers 3 and 2, they hop from the A and the D strings down to the low E and the A strings. So, first finger comes off of the B, hop right off there, and then add that 4th finger on the high E string. And the thumb of the guitar on your left hand is really sort of like down here on the middle of the guitar neck somewhere, because if you're up here too far, you know, the palm of your left hand ends up getting sucked into the bottom of the guitar neck, and it's really difficult to sort of operate those fingers. So I like to drop that thumb to the middle of the guitar neck and keep those fingers sort of arched up and over the fretboard, and that makes ease of access so much better. Okay, so we have that C, and it's down 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Then we head over to the A. So that A is open A, fret 2 on the D, fret 2 on the G, fret 2 on the B. So we're using a whole lot of fret 2 here, and A actually, I would typically play it like this, you know, with the finger 1, it's sort of like lazy A, laying over the D, G, and B strings. But this time we're going to use fingers 1, 2, and 3 because we have that A sus4 sound happening in this song, and then we also have in the same presentation of the A chord, we also use that A sus2 right before we jump over to the D chord. Okay, so open D, finger 1 on fret 2 on the G, finger 3 on the B string, and finger 2 on the high E string. Yeah, and you have these really nice strum patterns too that you hear frequently in this particular recording. So instead of really going quickly through the chord, you can take your time and sort of just kind of sweep through the entire string set. You could, on the D chord, we typically play the D string as the root note, but we can use the A string in the bass in this chord. And if you wanted to really stretch it, you could fold that thumb over and do, I know we just talked about getting that technique good, getting that left hand sort of down and around and getting that thumb in the back in the middle of the guitar neck. But if you really wanted to use your thumb, you could actually use your thumb on fret 2 on the low E string. Jimi Hendrix was pretty famous for, you may know Jimi Hendrix. He was pretty famous for wrapping that thumb around, you know, and doing these really wild and crazy things. So that thumb becomes really handy for this particular D chord if you wanted to get that F sharp in the bass. Otherwise, we'll just simply not play the low E string or omit it. Or use the thumb to just sort of touch off to the side of the low E string to choke it out. Okay? That's a pretty cool opportunity too, where that thumb just kind of, it's not really doing anything except for helping you to omit sounds that are unwanted. So I guess it is doing something, isn't it? A little behind the scenes action with the thumb. So C, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. A and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and guitar solo would come in. So if you wanted to learn that, just let me know and we can just drop us a line and we can put that together. It's a really cool guitar session. But for now, we'll stick with the chords. And then that D chord also has that sus4 sound happening too. So we have the open D, fret 2 on the G, and fret 3 on the B, and then finger 2 on the high E. But we also have that sus4 with the 4th finger, and then sus2 with the 2nd finger removed. So the sus2 and the sus4 things really mean, if we already know this, great, skip ahead. If we don't know this, here's the explanation. So the D chord is consisting of 3 different notes. The first note being D, E, and then F sharp, and then G, A. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 1 and a 3 and a 5, or a 1 and a 3 and a 5. So the D is the 1, the 3 is the F sharp, and the 5 is the A. So we have the D, F sharp, and A. Okay, so D, 1, 2 would be E, 3 is F sharp, 4 would be G, and then 5 is A. So the 4, when we have the D sus4, we take that, the usage of the 3, the F sharp, and then what we do is we bump it up to a 4. We suspend the use of the 3 and stuff that G note in there. So for example, that D chord with the F sharp on the top now has a G, which is the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th degree of the chord stuck on the top. And that gives us the sort of like the musical equivalent of like getting your bow loaded to sort of let loose the arrow. That stretch, you know, that tension where it's getting ready to let go. So that suspended sound, when you suspend the use of the 3rd, it creates a little musical tension and then resolves when it goes back to the D major chord. The sus2 would be the same thing, but instead of using the 4 in place of the 3, we use the 2, which is in the key of D, which is what note? That's right, E. So D, E, skip over the F sharp and the G, and go right up to A. Still a 3-note chord, but we're suspending the use of the 3 with the 2. We're using the 2 instead of the 3. So this time we have D, A, which is the 5th, and then D again, which is a double of the root note, and then open high E, which is the 2, which is suspending the use of the 3. So again, that's another sort of weightless and water kind of feel. All right, so we have that nice suspended 4th, and the suspended 2nd, and then the D major chord, triad, 3-note chord. Okay, so C. Up to A, and then A sus4 and A sus2. Okay, so the B section. Okay, we have the pretty much the same key. We're still in the key of C, but we're using the C, and then the G, 2 and 3, and then back to the C, and then E minor with fingers. Oh, so we're borrowing from the shape of the C chord. So finger 2 stays in the same place, doesn't it? Finger 2 stays on the second fret on the D string, while the other two fingers remove, and then second finger stays there. First finger hops down to the A string on fret number 2. C to G, and then and there's that E minor. Back to C, and then G, and then up to D. And then we have the sequence of D, and then D sus 2, and then D sus 4. Questions so far? No questions? So let's take a quick look at the C major scale. So we have that, just because we're in this key of C major, we should talk about the C major scale a little bit at least. So finger, it sounds like this. Okay, so we have that 3 on the A string, open D, fret 2 on the D, 3rd fret on the D, and then open G, fret 2 on the G, which is an A note. Alright, C, D, E, F, G, A, open B, which is scale degree number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the B. And then 8 or C, also known as 1 again. Okay, so the C major scale is a really useful thing to know about. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and it's really important to be able to play that in a descending manner as well as an ascending manner. So we wanted to be able to play both equally as well. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then to play this is right here. We can play it right here in position number 3, 5, 7, and we have fingers 2, 4, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We have a 2-octave pattern here. So that's a really nice scale to get under the fingertips here. Okay, it is a great tune. So thanks for watching. Why don't we review? If you have any interest in the acoustic guitar at all, if you had any interest in the acoustic guitar at all in the late 80s, late 1980s, early 90s, very early 90s, but mostly in the late 80s, when this song hit in this compilation album, it was a really, really big deal. You had to learn all of the parts of this song. And today we're doing the bare bones structure. We're just going to review the bare bones structure of the introduction, the C chord, and then you get those C add 9s and C sus, or no, C major 7s. And G. And then moving up to A. And then D. And then D sus 4, and then sus 2. So the verse is the same chord progression, but this time we're arpeggiating it. Into the B section, move between C and G, and then C and E minor, and then C is just a little impatience. Moving up to the D chord, we omit the A chord in this section. It just occurred to me that there's sort of a coda to this tune where you would actually use that thumb on fret number 2 to wrap it around D major chord with F sharp in the bass. Oh yeah, and there's some really cool guitar licks there too. If you'd like those, let me know and we'll talk about them another time. So, I've been walking the streets tonight, just trying to get right. And you know when Axl Rose would sing his vocal line, you know he was sort of, you know the band was serious about what they did. Back and forth between the D and the D over F sharp, and then the G chord for the majority of the ending. This really cool ending that you could work out for the song if you'd like. So if you haven't liked or shared or subscribed yet, or if you go ahead and do it, it really helps us out. And if you have and you're experienced, well, then you know what to do next. So thanks very much for watching. If you do not have any questions, I'm just going to entertain myself and hopefully you on the way out of this video. And I'm just going to wait for a few seconds. We'll keep it running for a few seconds, and if nothing comes in the next 15 seconds or so, 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and see you next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching Play Guitar Live with Jason Carey every Wednesday night at Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.